let us understand, the concept of time and creation as it is explained in the Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is the original name for Hinduism. A very, very interesting depiction and very scientific actually in nature. It is, I would encourage all of you to read it at your leisure. Very, very interesting. So as per Hindu mythology or Hindu cosmology, if I can use that term, Ayana refers to the course that the sun takes in the universe. And the 6 months that the sun moves towards the north are called Uttarayana. And the 6 months in which the sun moves southward are called the Dakshinayana. Uttarayana, or the northern course, begins from Makara Sankranti, when the sun enters Capricorn in January, and Dakshinayana, or the southern course, begins in July on Shayana Ekadasi, when the sun enters Cancer. The two ayanas together make one Varsha, or 1 year. And 4,32,000 years make the Kali Yuga. We are now part of the Kali Yuga. 4,32,000 years make the Kali Yuga. Twice as much of the Kali Yuga, which is 8,64,000 years, make the Dwapara Yuga. And thrice as much as the Kali Yuga, which is 12,96,000 years, makes the Treta Yuga. And 4 times as much as the Kali Yuga, which is 17,28,000 years, is the Satya Yuga. And these 4 yugas together are called the Chatur Yuga or the Maha Yuga. That is the term by which the 4 yugas are referred to together, the 4 spans of time. And the 4 spans of time together make 4,320,000 years. 71 Chatur Yugas make one Manvantara. So 71 into 4,320,000 years is 30 crores 67,20,000 years. That is one Manvantara. Manvantara is the gap between 2 Manus. We will come to that in a little bit. 14 Manvantaras are said to constitute one single day in the life of the creator, who is Brahma. This 14 Manvantaras, which is one day, is called Kalpa. And the Kalpa is the fundamental cosmic cycle in Sanatana Dharma. Time is measured in the terms of this cycle or Kalpa in Sanatana Dharma. It's a cosmic round, which comprise of what? The Mahayugas or the Chatur Yugas. And the Mahayuga, Chatur Yuga comprise of each of the 4 yugas. The notion of time in Sanatana Dharma is circular. It is not linear. Modern science, the notion of time is linear. But in Sanatana Dharma, it is circular. And because it is circular, or why it is circular so, is because the universe is considered to be in continual flow through these 4 periods of time. Now, according to modern science, there are 2 theories on creation and concept of time. I want to dwell a little bit to compare it with what modern science, what we just went through, and we'll come to what we just went through again. What modern science talks about in terms of creation and in terms of the concept of time. There are fundamentally 2 theories in modern science. The first one is called the steady state theory, which says that the universe is never born, the universe never dies, and it is always as it is, the way we witness it. However, that's not true, because the universe is in front of us constantly changing. In fact, a few years ago, they discovered one more planet in the solar system, which we didn't know existed earlier. It's changing, it's expanding, and there is scientific proof that this is happening so. So this theory, or the steady state theory, is not true. It is incorrect. The other theory is called the Big Bang theory, which is the most widely accepted and adopted by modern science. And the Big Bang theory says that the universe began with a point of energy exploding into what is called the Big Bang. And this theory says that the universe is anywhere between 11 to 20 billion years old as of today. So 11 to 20 billion, see, this is a 9 billion gap in between the two. 11 to 20 billion years old is what the Big Bang theory says. So the Big Bang theory essentially says that the universe itself popped out of nothing, and nothing caused the Big Bang. So Stephen Hawking, one of my favorites, as you all know by now, he says, and I'm quoting him, something very wonderful happened at the instance of the Big Bang. Time itself began. The gravitational field of the Big Bang is so powerful that it wraps not only light, that is why it's called the black hole, because light just gets into it. Okay, it wraps not only light, but also wraps time. Time does not exist inside the black hole, unquote. So he asks us to imagine, he presents this quite beautifully actually. He says, imagine a clock, and that clock is ticking, tuck, 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 like a clock ticks. And then the clock is getting sucked into the black hole, towards the black hole. As the clock gets closer and closer and closer to the black hole, he says it gets slower and slower and slower. And then let's imagine that it enters the black hole. So we said that the black hole gravitational pull is so huge that light and time also become zero. But imagine the clock survives, okay? Stephen Hawking says that if it gets into the black hole and survives, it stops. Not because it breaks. In our imagination, we are thinking that the clock does not break. Not because it breaks, but because inside the black hole, time does not exist. So Hawking says, and again, I'm going to quote him again, since time itself began at the time of the Big Bang, it could not have been caused or created by anyone or anything. So thus, for Hawking, it means that there is no possibility of a creator. That is why he's the famous scientist skeptic. However, he continues to say, we have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. So as I'm listening to him, I'm thinking, grand design of the universe. Huh? So Hawking says, there is no time, there is no light, there is nothing. Nothing created the universe. So if nothing created the universe, there was no cause. When there is no cause, there is no creator. And then he says, grand design of the universe. And then he says, I'm extremely grateful for it. And I'm thinking, Hawking, Mr. Stephen Hawking, in your own words, grateful to who? To what? To nothing, to no one. Then that statement of Hawking is also zero. Right? So again, one more interesting thing about modern science. Latest research shows that in this ever-expanding, changing universe, it shows that it is much older than what was postulated by the Big Bang theory. Okay, the wide range of this 11 to 20 billion years is now being recalibrated. Initially, they said it was about 14.2 billion years old, and now, there is a lot more theory or experiments and discoveries and analysis that have showed that it could be much, much older. So in short, modern man is not aware and has not been able to explain scientifically the creation of the universe. It's only a wonder. We can sit here in amazement and wonder how these ancient, Sanatana Dharma exponents, they put so much in detail in terms of creation, in terms of Brahma, and in terms of Vishnu, and in terms of, how time, the concept of time runs everything. It's amazing. So Vedic science, coming back to Vedic science says that the total age of the universe is 311.04 trillion years. Trillion. In human year terms, by the way, because in Vedic science, there is also a year of the Brahma. And the current age is around 155 trillion years. And actually, when you do the calculation, which I'm not going to do today, it comes to 155.52197294 trillion years. That level of accuracy. So it's quite amazing actually. But let us dwell on the calculation of the total, age of the universe. which is 311.04 trillion years. See, we talked about the Chaturyugas. Chaturyuga is what the 4 yugas put together, which is nothing but 4,320,000 years. This Kalpa, which we call Kalpa, the 4 yugas, the Mahayuga, which is the fundamental life cycle, is one day. We saw that, one day of the life of the Creator, Lord Brahma. And that is comprised of 1,000 Mahayugas. The one day of the Creator is comprised of 1,000 Mahayugas. So 4.32 million into 1,000 is 4.32 billion in human years. Lord Brahma's night, so we said this is the day. The night also is 4.32 billion years. And it is said in Sanatana Dharma that life exists during Brahma's day. The universe exists, its life is there, it functions, and so on and so forth, the way we know it. During Brahma's night, there is no life. And the age of the Brahma is said to be 100 years, each year having 360 days and 360 nights. So the total age of Brahma comes to 360 into 100 into 8.64 billion. That comes to 311.04 trillion human years. This period is called Mahakalpa. And this is the lifespan of the universe. So, very interesting concept. And the reason I dwelt on this but not on the current age of the universe is because this time span, or the Mahakalpa, is also said to be the duration of one breath of Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. When he exhales, the universe is born along with Brahma. And when Mahavishnu inhales, all of the universe gets sucked into Mahavishnu and Brahma dies. We will come to this later in Bhagavad Gita also. We will talk about Brahma's life span and all of that. Bhagavan talks about it. This cycle is non-ending. It is eternal. Unlike Hawking theory or the Big Bang theory, where inside the black hole time ends. As per Vedic cosmology, this is a non-ending eternal cycle. And it appears that there is a lot of calculation in this also, maybe a little bit more than modern science has managed to do till now. So as time progresses, now coming back to Vedanta, as time progresses from stage to stage, from yuga to yuga, the human society degrades. And why does it degrade? It degrades to a lower level. And at the end of that degradation, it culminates in the destruction of the existing order, which happens at the end of the Kali Yuga. So the 4 yugas, and at the end of the Kali Yuga, the existing order is destroyed. After this, the golden age or the blissful Satya Yuga recommences, starts again. This degradation in human society through the yugas happens due to progressive deterioration of dharma. We discussed dharma, in various contexts. We talked about dharma as righteousness. We talked about dharma as doing one's duty. We talked about dharma as pure essence of being. When we gave the example of fire, fire is hot. Without heat, there is no fire. The essence of being of anything, which makes the thing what it is. And we also spoke of dharma as the sacred truth. And a number of other things. I just covered a few of what we have spoken earlier. When this dharma deteriorates, the quality of moral standards and religious piety among human beings falls drastically. Bhagavan says, he will say a little later, we'll cover it in the next satsang. He says that he manifests when this happens. He comes into being when this happens. Each of these manvantaras is presided over by one Manu. And Manu, his sons who rule the earth, 7 sages, gods, and the king of gods or Indra, they all together preside over this Manvantara. Manu himself is the progenitor. He is the one who forebears. He is the first man. And the Manu of our current, this time, is Vaivasvata Manu, the name of the current Manu, who is presiding over the current time in which we all live in, this Kali Yuga that we are part of, which is part of the Chatur Yuga, in which we are all living in.